I've heard the need for better data, heard the need for increased fines, but I think perhaps the most difficult challenge in fireworks enforcement is our failure to identify, cite, and punish violators of our fireworks laws and regulations. So we need witnesses, but I think what I'd like to get at is, do you think that there are other approaches that might be more productive in catching those violators? And I have quantified the rules and regulations in a myriad of other states and municipalities. There's some really innovative approaches. Some states have host responsibility provisions in their laws. Others have employed citizens' use of internet mapping technology and mobile apps, and others have used similar internet technology to permit citizens to report locations of pre-planned illegal fireworks to local authorities. So I would be interested in hearing from you what approaches would assist in the enforcement, and of those, what are you interested in us looking into? Short of repeal, what can we do to assist you in enforcement?
I'd be happy to start that answer, Senator. Thank you. I think that the best thing, first off, would be to allow municipalities to have local regulations. That way, there can be a curbing of when fireworks will be allowed in that community. That will help law enforcement to then be able to concentrate on a smaller time frame, a time frame that fits the municipality, because this is an unfunded mandate on local government. They are paying for the cost of this. The taxpayers of that community are paying for this enforcement. So it should be curbed to the extent the municipality would like to do that.
And I understand that, and I appreciate that. However, as it was noted previously, we already have a regulation on the books that says it cannot be within 150 feet of an occupied structure. Now, I represent a third-class city, I represent suburbs and rural areas. There's nowhere in my third-class city where you can set these off legally. There's nowhere in any of my boroughs that you can set it off legally, right? We have challenges in agricultural areas with particularly, I chair the Animal Protection Caucus in the Senate, with our farm animals. But we already have that on the books. So okay. How do you enforce that better? And that's what I want to get to.
Well, I think that maybe we put the revenue that the state is earning from the sales toward public education for safety purposes, so that we are in terms of the 150-foot rule or whatever rule we end up with, that we're educating the public to be more aware of what the laws are. And then at the local level, I think that once we get a handle on when the use is going to be happening, there can be, hotlines and task forces and things like that to help law enforcement to, to reach those violators. But I think there's always going to be a difficulty in being able to, in a concentrated period of time, like a holiday weekend or a holiday evening, be able to go out and actually enforce every incident. That's why I think, education of the rules would probably go a long way, plus the preventative measures of high fines when they are able to cite someone. I'll let my colleagues answer.
It's a very thorny issue when it comes to enforcement. We can talk about it in a general way and all, but when it comes to the neighbor who watches Sally across the street toss out a few consumer fires, set off bottle rockets or fireworks or anything like that, there's that hesitancy. We can't regulate, as it's been said, you can't legislate common sense. And so sometimes this is a very difficult part. However, creating mechanisms, I like some of the things that you did mention, Senator, using Facebook, using electronic means for folks to report to police. getting the borough councils involved in a way that they could become, we have like block watches, we have things like that that could actually help to reporting these issues in areas. But yeah, it's thorny. It's it was told me years ago over in the Senate that fireworks are fun. You know what I mean? And it's very difficult, posting one neighbor. From the time that I served as a commissioner years ago, okay, well, neighbors would call me instead of actually calling the police or something about, hey, so-and-so's doing this, so-and-so's doing that. So that's part of the role you play too well with the public. So.
Well, and I appreciate that, and people need to step up and be willing to sign those reports if they want our law enforcement to be able to manage this. And look, it's a real challenge when our law enforcement is stretched and they have a call for other crimes that are being committed. This gets pushed down, but I didn't vote for the bill that created this law, and I'm frustrated at what we're going to do to address this. And so if we can't get repeal, we have to figure out a way to make it better, and we need you to give us those ideas and so that we can help you help our constituents. So thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.